All right. Just making sure we are live. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. This is Jenna Cantor, performer and physical therapist, and I'm the founder of Powerful Performer, an online course for performing artists, where it's going to teach you how to be a smarter, healthier performer. Okay, so this is yet another study. So don't let the title of the study overwhelm you. Okay, the study really looked at jumping sideways on one foot, jumping straight up and down, and then balance, and then saw whether they correlated with each other. So if you seemed weak on your jumps, would that affect your balance, and so on. Okay, so that's what this study is about. Okay. I think this is very, very important, especially for performers. Musical theater, unpredictability, if you're improvising in class. I think this was a great, great study to really learn from. Now, let's just talk about limitations right from the beginning. So within this study, the participants were dancers, and they did 61 dancers, which is great. Female college dancers, they did not say what dance styles they do. So already, I don't even know who this is specifically for or how often they trained in each dance style, if it was a big variety of dance styles. Also knowing what each of their histories were, which one grew up more in ballet, which one grew up more in modern, which one grew up more in hip hop. All of that makes a huge difference. That being said, at least the majority of them were 18 years old. It was like 0.7 years more or less, around that average. So basically 18 years old for these kiddos. It was a cross-sectional study. So what this means is it's a snapshot in time. As they took everyone, they gathered information right there and then, and that's it. Nothing before, nothing after. Like I would come in and just say, jump, and now balance. All right, bye. That's it. So it is limited because from there we can't really see the predictability of this, if this really would be a cause, but we can say that there may be some relation with things. Okay, so that being said, what happened is the dancers came in one at a time, and they were asked to jump sideways on one foot, so like a single leg hop jumping sideways, and then asked to jump up and down with both feet. And then they were asked to do a star excursion, meaning they stood on one leg. So say I'm standing on this one leg, and I'm bringing my foot front and back here to test the balance, okay? So that's what the star excursion was, just bouncing on one leg and almost like doing, for those who know ballet, doing piqués, piqué front, Arabesque, and like kind of the opposite direction. All right, but basically a balance test. So with this, I'm just going to go back and forth. So with this, okay, you're going, all right, so they're jumping sideways jumps, up and down jumps, and balance. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, well, here's some things already you can start thinking, I don't know how much we can really make these overlap. First of all, with the sideways jump, it's one-legged, but up and down, it was two-legged. So is that really comparative? And then also with calculations, they calculated work, which is very different and for the sideways jump, side to side, and they calculated power up and down. Those are not the same things. Those aren't comparative numbers just next to each other. So you need to use different numbers to get the number for work. You need to use different numbers to get the numbers for power. And then for star excursion, you're getting distances. It's none of these, there's no real overlap, so you can really see their relation as well. You have to, yeah. So I thought that was interesting choices, but at least they were doing it. At the end of the day, a study is a study. It's good to have this information. But these are things to just consider, that if they were going to do a study, ideally we would have them doing numbers and calculations that would coincide and bounce off each other more. For results, they found that there was definitely some sort of relationship between the working and power required calculated for the jumping. Sideways and up and down and balance. So meaning that the more power they needed, the more work it was, the harder it was for them to balance. So they started to notice that was a thing, but they couldn't really say exactly that because it was just a snapshot of time. That person could have had a bad day or could be having a better day. When you're just like, for anything, you have a good picture day and a bad picture day, or you normally always feel sick, but then when you go into the doctor, for some reason you feel okay and you're going, this is not my norm, I swear. So you have to take that for sure into consideration for this as a limitation. What I thought was interesting specifically that I would like them to do another study on to solidify this evidence and thought process is horizontal jumps predicted almost 1/3 of the changes in balance. So they definitely noticed that when somebody was having difficulty jumping side to side, there was also seemed to be more difficulty with balance in the balance test as well. That is something definitely to account for. This is why, for me, from my perspective, when working with dancers, I've dealt with a lot of lateral ankle sprains right off the bat. It's just so common. And lateral ankle sprains, if you think about it, it's when you're rolling your ankle. You step off a curb and you roll your ankle. You step on something, you roll your ankle. That's that side to side. That's a horizontal thing. So I'm actually find that piece of what they noticed there, that observation there, I think that's really interesting and something to continue investigating. There is some literature that already does bounce off that, but I just think specifically for this, when we're looking at jumping, I would be interested in really doing a more long-term study to really solidify the causality there, because I think that's good stuff. So the authors here, in conclusion, although this really doesn't generalize the public or anything, and there was all these limitations I was saying, they were concluded that somehow, we don't know exactly how, there is some sort of relationship between these jumping numbers and the balance numbers. We can't really say how they are interrelated because this is only like a snapshot of information. However, we think this is a good starting point for more studies to be done. So they want to investigate now. From here, they were suggesting what training programs could be implemented in a study to try to improve the jumping power, going up and down, and the work utilized to jump side to side, and see if that could help improve balance as well. That is it for this study. So you can already see this. I get this from a performer perspective. This is like, whoa, so much information. Please, if this felt like a lot, go back, write it down in your own words, the interpretation of this, and constantly pause it to see how it relates with you. How much of this actually applies to you? If you are male, you may not want to consider this at all. I'm not saying female are so different, but something to think about. And then also, if you're somebody in your 40s, you're not a college person anymore. So you're not 18. Your body's way different. Always think, as I'm discussing these studies, how much this relates with your own body. All right, that's it. Take care, everyone. Bye. And now it takes forever to end this, Yeah.